talk about here. Typically, I do my live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but today I have a prior obligation with Julie that I will be gone tonight, and I won't be able to do the live. So I wanted to do my due diligence. I have a lot of stuff that I've already gotten together for tonight, and I wanted to go over it this evening. I apologize for being a couple minutes late to the live. I was gathering my information, and I just wanted to make sure I had everything set up so we can do this in a smooth and orderly fashion. I don't anticipate a large audience during the live, but I do speculate that there will be well over 1,000 people who end up watching this after it gets released, after the live is over. So I'll dictate how long I do the live, but I'm going to go through a lot of information. We're going to go over the charts as XRP's down better than where are we at right now, 9.3% on the day. And I've got a couple of videos with Brad Garlinghouse, not just today or yesterday when he talked about possible settlement, but I have what he said about the SEC and Gary Gensler. So this is going to be a very nice live for anybody who's watching, and it'll be nice to see who actually tunes in at a different time since I can't be on this evening, and we'll be able to have an active discussion in the moment while the charts are moving like they are. Crypto Wizard, welcome in. UK Phil, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. It's good to see you in here, UK Phil. I've missed you, friend. I've missed you. Messi, good evening. XRP Stu, welcome in. Ring Thing, good evening. Go get them, Tom. Yes, sir. Kryptonian, good evening, or good mid-afternoon. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Tell your wife I'm honored that I am her favorite voice to listen to, or at least that you listen to, that she hears. I take that as a great badge of honor. I sure as hell do. So thank you for that, Mrs. Kryptonian. Let's see. Mo, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. That's why I love you, Kryptonian. I love your spirit. I do. It's like mine. Sammy, welcome in. Amir, good evening. Michael, Marvin, welcome. Sammy wins the moonshot. Well, the only thing I ever tell everybody is the closer to 28 we get, the higher we go. So that's your speculation. Been busy moving, so missed a lot. Well, I hope it's been going okay, UK Phone. I'm glad to see you here, at least at the moment. And blessings that it goes as smoothly as possible. You know, that's what we would like to see. So we'll go over the XRP technical analysis as we are getting hammered today. We knew that if we didn't hold 60.3 cents, whether or not the SEC settlement news came out or not, that the closed meeting was canceled, that the SEC canceled it. There's been so many closed meetings. Everybody always says it's settlement. Notice I never even talked about that possibility. I've read what others said, but I don't put any stock into it because I don't think a settlement does anything for us except the fact it gives us a resolution. So if there's going to be some kind of settlement, it's not going to be behind closed doors. Annalisa Perez is going to put some kind of judgment out, and Ripple's either going to agree to it or not. I don't think it's going to happen just on the spur of the moment. The SEC is doing this or that. Isn't it convenient that Ripple moved 150 million tokens yesterday? I'm an XRP holder. And yes, I was able to make good money on this push-up and was able to get rid of the tokens over the top of my hold bag. As everybody knows, I'm very transparent. But it doesn't make me happy that I have to do that. It doesn't make me happy. Lee, welcome in. Sammy, good evening. Zach, Rizzo, buckle up indeed. Yes, indeed. Trading with J Ride, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years, almost 3 years with that XRP 589 Moon badge, approaching the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Yeah, trading with J Ride. By good fortune or fate, I had to come on earlier today because me and Julie have an obligation tonight. So I won't be able to do my traditional live at 6:30, but I'm very motivated and dedicated to do my work. So I said if I can't do it then, I don't have to leave until like 3:45, 4 o'clock area. Why not do the live now? And I have information that I want to play after we look at the chart. So I got to get through this, but I love seeing so many people already commenting. I really, really do. I really, really do. Kryptonian, I just bought $200 XRP on the dip. Well, for me, if we're looking at dips, I mean, we got a harsh rejection here at 63.55, and that was our first sign that we didn't confirm the signal of a massive breakout attempt. Remember, we had a historical push that we were on the verge of. On the verge and being there are two completely different things. We were on the verge because we broke. And this is the beauty of technical analysis. And we'll get into this more after I do the intro. But the beauty of technical analysis is the way we were able to just delegate what was going to happen here and what needed to happen. Trading with J-Rod, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Says stay focused, everyone. Yes, indeed. Focus is key here. And let me tell you something. While we're down, we're correcting all the ones of you who watch who are not on the exchanges, who are like, you know what, I just missed an opportunity. Get it right now. Video description below and or pinned comments. You've got BITUNIX. You've got HOTCOIN. If you want to copy trade me, they have the XRP Bitcoin pairing. They have IOTA, IOTX. They also have Casper and many other ecosystems as well. Right now, BITUNIX, I love it. That's just my go-to as well. So you can't go wrong with either or. That's in the video description below. And no KYC needed on either exchange. None of that bullshit with the VPNs unless you want to deal with all of that. And you don't need to worry about anything because it's allowed in the USA and worldwide. The ones that I tell my audience are accepted in the USA and worldwide, both the same. So you don't have to worry about getting roped in. The fees are as low as you're possibly going to have as well. I'm not dealing with the uphold fees and all this other nonsense that I used to deal with. So that's where I would get it right. Because I always say, don't wait until the rally or the drop happens. Do it while you think it's going to have that moment. Have your money on the exchanges. Have it ready to go for when the moment happens. Do you know what the worst part is? There's many people, and there's a couple people in the audience right now, I've seen the names, who sent me private messages. I'm not going to say the names, who have sent me private messages and said, I had my money ready on that dip, but because of the waiting period, it only became available. And one person, it didn't become available until 60 cents. But they were ready to buy at 38, but because of the holding period, and it happens a lot on the exchanges depending on where you're at, which is the importance of building capital. So you don't have to keep making deposits. You can just send it from exchange to exchange. You got to get it right before the time happens. So look in the video description below, and I encourage you for BITUNIX and HOTCOIN. I encourage you beyond belief, because I've had nothing but good experiences, and every time I've had an issue and I had to talk to customer service, it's been solved within the hour or within the day. And there hasn't been many issues, if any. You're welcome, Sammy. You stay blessed as well. Daniel, welcome in. George, good evening or good afternoon. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3 months plus with the XRP Meteor. And I always bring this level of energy and positivity no matter if we're up or down, because I know opportunity. And one other thing, remember when I said everybody was going to try to pile into B2 Gold, and what did I say? Do not buy. Do not buy when it hit 315. You might be mad that you didn't ride it up with me from the inverse head and shoulders, but now there's profit taking by myself as well. And now you wait until it comes back down to $2.86 and you shuffle out all the weak hands. And then I'm going to add to my position if it holds that back test. So don't do anything, like I said, at 315, because now everybody who missed out from 253, just like with XRP, is going to want to buy in, and then it's going to reverse the course. And now all of a sudden here we're down 5.8%. Looking at about a 10% correction here. So now anybody who bought up towards the top, now all of a sudden they're down 10 and they're never going to look at commodities again. It's a fine line, folks. I don't let my emotions dictate my decision, and I'm not just dealing with crypto. I deal with a lot of things because I want to be involved and evolved within the markets. Forex, I don't care for at all. If I want to do a 24/7 market, I'm going to do it in crypto, and I'm going to do it every day and twice on Sunday, because with Forex, I'd rather just deal with the manipulated market in crypto that actually has meaning. Forex to me is useless. Unless you understand, I'm not going to say useless, because if you understand trading at the highest of levels, there's a lot of money to be made. But if you don't understand, and you think crypto is hard, get into Forex not understanding technicals and tell me technicals don't matter within Forex, so you got to just get yourself right. But B2 Gold down to $2.98 now sub $3. You smell that? It's a little easier to breathe around here now, because now we can continue the accumulation mode. Once it's over $3, I in good faith can't accumulate And once I see a top happen, I will take money out so that I can reinvest in. So I've got a good, I got 7,000 reasons here once I get reinvested entirely on why on any given day I'm the happiest person around. Remember, earnings at the end of the month, so this is the preconditional shakeout. Plus, we have to back test structures. But anyhow, much too much time spent there, so good evening, or good mid-afternoon, 2:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, July 18th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I appreciate some of the comments the last few days. Somebody said I looked a lot thinner the last couple of days. You know, I don't think it's that I look a lot thinner. I think I've been doing a lot better with what I've been doing, but I've still been working out. But my diet's gotten a little bit better here lately too, and I think it's just I feel more lively, to be honest. I know there's been a transcending change in my appearance, or at least my the energy level or the output, but it's just I feel better. I can't explain it. And yeah, you would think I'd feel terrible because XRP's down almost 10%, but I see what's going on here. I think we all do. So XRP right now down 9.6%. So what happened here is we signaled, remember, we signaled a pretty big breakout, right? We tried, and it was a fake signal, and you know why? And you know why confirmations are beautiful, and we went over this in real time? We tried to confirm, and we signaled a breakout when we held 60.5 cents and started pushing back up. However, we're not dumb here. We know what was going on. We came up to 63.5 cents, and from the beginning I said, you signal a massive breakout when you get above that 6.5-year resistance, which we did and back tested, but you can only confirm it when you break and hold 63.5 cents. We're not dumb around here. So we knew we were in between that oh shit moment. That's why I called it no man's land when we got up there. We got the rejection, came back through, got the news that would take away the catalyst of any kind of possibility of a settlement this morning, because you would have had follow through up to about 68 to 70 cents, which is the bitch part. Had they have not canceled that meeting, even if nothing came of it, once that meeting was known and it was actually being confirmed that it was happening today, the FOMO would have kicked out of control. And it probably would have hit 68 or maybe 70. And then if nothing came of it, it would have just fell through like it did. The bitch part is, if it fell through like it did, it probably would have held 63.5, which would have confirmed a bigger push. So, it's, but like for me, it's like I've been saying, all that settlement bullshit in these closed door meetings, it's just that. It's people trying to get views. Never once did I say there's going to be any kind of settlement, because these closed door meetings are bullshit. They are. We've had hundreds of them. And it always is, oh, we're having a settlement. But you know what spurred it on more? And I'll show you what spurred it on more now that you see the technicals. And we'll get into this a little deeper, because now we're going to end up having a little bit more of a problem when you take it into the more micro. Now we broke down that 60 cents. Now you've got, and it's important. It's important. And just let me put the two price labels on here so everybody knows. And I'm not going to put anything to connect it. I'm just going to show you, and you guys can make your own decision on the levels. So, let me put them where they're supposed to be. So these are the most important. And when I say important, you can speculate however you want. Right here. Because in the 4 hourly, let's face it, if we get down here, you're going to have to hold that. But that's not even the important part, because if it breaks down there, we're in a lot of trouble anyhow. 56.3 cents right now is epic. If we don't hold 56.3 cents, we're in trouble. Then you've got that 50.5 cent area, but you've literally got right there at 56.3 to try to stop this in its tracks. Otherwise, it could come all the way back down. And remember, if it breaks this 48.6, remember, wave 5 correction has only temporarily been invalidated. If it comes back below 48.6, you better believe that wick off accumulation, or well, in this case it'd be the correction phase. But the correction phase, you know, if you're below 48.6, the wick off calls for the correction phase still. I know everybody's recounting the waves, but I'm not so sure that's what happened. I'm not so sure. So I waited for confirmation and we didn't get it. So when we didn't get it, I sold. Not my big bag, as you know, but I buy stuff all the time. As you know, this time up I was buying 5,000 extra. I had through the XRP. You guys all know what's going on. I'm not going to explain myself. I always have at least 12,000 XRP at any given time from when I bought it at 34 cents. That won't change. If it goes lower, I'll add to my permanent bag that's on the XRP ledger. Other than that, I always trade higher amounts if we get lower. At 38 cents, it gave me an unbelievable opportunity. Now, we've got to come down. Absolutely, that 48.8 and 40, you're 100% right with the fair value gap. That's where we were getting. So to fill this up, you're either going to back test and hold that 486 level, and that does fill the big gap. And that would just simply say we're not going back into the consolidation or the correction phase with the wick off. And we would bounce off it and it would just confirm the invalidation now. Otherwise, if we come down to the second gap, that is around the uptrend that was started. And that's why I have that 43.36 area. Because it very well could hit that and fill that. But that's also, I mean, if you want to talk about the magnitude of what that level is, for anybody who hasn't been in here, I mean, once you get past there, you come into some serious problems. And I would speculate, forget that number even. Yes, that's the gap. But just set it here. Because if you come down there, you're probably going to retest the handle support. You break through that, you come back into the falling channel. And then that can get you down near 36. So a lot of stuff to watch. But we got to get into the next part of this business here because I don't have as much time. But we've got two things I'd like everybody to sit around and watch with me. We've got Brad Garlinghouse talking about SEC Gensler, the war on crypto, and it was on Bloomberg TV, and this is where he started talking about the settlement stuff. So we'll watch this first, or actually we might watch that second, because we could build, where was this at? We can build the narrative here. Because Brad Garlinghouse has been very outspoken here the last couple days. And I follow him, so I have all of it. I thought I had it set up, but he was even a couple days ago. So let's build the narrative. This is what he said a couple days ago. And then we'll watch what he said yesterday that fueled more settlement talks and what he exactly said about Gensler. I'm doing very well, everybody. For everybody asking... Whoops. Why would we... For everybody asking, I'm doing very well. If you are watching, please make sure to hit that like button so YouTube recommends this live. You guys did a fantastic job in my morning update hitting that like button. Believe it or not, it's already well over 2,000 views. And YouTube has recommended more than 900 of those views because we did such a good job of hitting the like button early. Out of the first 400 views, there was 110 likes. I know there's not as good of a ratio now, but it was enough to get me through the analytics very quickly. So I thank you all for that in the comments. And if you could hit the like button and do the same, and we could be recommended and we could become a big force here on YouTube. Because I truly believe that we have the best information here. Not because of what I bring you on the news side, but because the charts that we do together can't be beaten. We can stay so far ahead. I mean, if you guys only knew how much I've made just by trading right in front of your very eyes, it would make you sick. And some of you have done it, and it's just not crypto. It's also commodities. It's also my accumulation of my precious metals. Just look at our copy trading alone, and that's stressful because there's so many. Well, it's not like it's hundreds of people, but there's people's money in my hands, and I only do it based on our $100 challenge. So we started with 100, but we're up 44% just on that in this very volatile market, and it is not easy. So let's watch this and build the narrative. And if you do appreciate what I do, I'd love to see more members of Tom's Army get that emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens in month 1, all the way to the 3-year emoji badge of the XRP Diamond Hands, which there are a few that have already achieved that status. Or send a YouTube super chat to show your appreciation. But I'm going to shut up here for about the next 2 minutes here. Then we'll build up the tone for the next video that has Brad Garlinghouse. This is literally what's happened in the last 72 hours with what Brad Garlinghouse has been saying.
It's shocking To me, as a kid who grew up in Kansas, that somehow a technology like this has become a partisan issue. Why would we have a Republican versus Democrat dynamic around innovation? Like, we should want technology that reduces cost, improves efficiency. The fact that this became partisan, I think really, the patient zero on that is Elizabeth Warren, who uses as a campaign talking point that all crypto is used for bad acts and et cetera, which is absolutely provably not the case. But now you have, in a somewhat crazy way, a dynamic where the Republicans are pro-crypto and a bunch of Democrats are anti-crypto. I'll give credit to a Fortune reporter who's one of the first people I saw tweet out, this is JJR, Jeff John Roberts, tweeted out that Biden will gain 0 votes for being anti-crypto, and Trump will gain tens of thousands, I don't know what he said exactly, but many votes for being pro-crypto. I agree with that tweet. And it makes no sense to me. And there are leading Democrats who I think are trying to solve this and leading in. I was at a crypto roundtable in Washington, D.C., led by a California rep named Ro Khanna, Mark Cuban. It was about 25 people. Anita Dunn, in a personal capacity, who works directly for Joe Biden, was in the group, as was Mark Cuban, Senator from New York, Gillibrand. So look, I think there's some leading Democrats recognizing that maybe got this wrong. I was sitting next to a different representative, who I'll leave unnamed, who said that he was there largely to do a mea culpa. He's like, I got this wrong, and I had looked at this the wrong way, and I do think it's because people believe the bullshit. They have people espousing things that just are plainly not true, and they believe it. They have to learn for themselves.
Remember he's talking about the bullshit, but look who perpetrates the bullshit. Wait until the next video. So he just said, you got to learn to basically feed through the bullshit and perpetrate what's really the truth. Even when it comes to him, we're going to have to see the truth for what it is. And we know the truth. We've seen it too much.
How crypto is really being used, there's a lot of very good actors in this space that are trying to follow the rules of the road. And we've been asking for 5 years, give us clear rules of the road. And so I'm hopeful that eventually this will become a nonpartisan issue. But right now it is partisan. And I think the Republicans are playing chess where the Democrats are playing checkers.
All right, so there's that. And now this is the one I really wanted to play. And we're going to watch this whole 7 minutes. I don't even know how many people are here. 67 people. I think this is very, very important. Then we'll get back in the charts. This is what Brad Garlinghouse said yesterday with his interview with Bloomberg. This got a lot of talk because a lot of people really thought a settlement was coming. And I said last night, don't expect that. It's more of a buy the rumor, sell the news. That's exactly what I said last night in the live. Because when all this stuff starts adding up, it's like, well, he's not just coming on. So let's just, you can form your own opinion. I'm not going to say anything more. God bless you, everybody.
Brad, what is your message to the RNC and DNC?
And FYI, this was yesterday, July 17, 2024, when he was on Bloomberg, just 22 hours ago.
Well, my first message is really that this should have never really become a partisan issue. I think all of us should embrace technical innovation, and these are technologies that truly can transform the cost and efficiency of financial transactions particularly. And so our message is really that we as an industry want to be regulated. We want to have the clarity of that regulation. And it's been refreshing to see the Republican Party kind of lean into that as part of their platform.
You've definitely seen crypto move towards President Trump. Why? What is the Biden administration doing that's so wrong that crypto guys don't like it?
Well, I think the primary thing that has happened is, 5 years ago, I was out publicly saying that there wasn't clarity in the rules and the rules of the road. And 5 years later, after Ripple was sued by the United States SEC, we still don't have clarity in those rules of the road. And so you have in this administration, in Chair Gensler, the chairman of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, really a fight between the SEC and to some degree the CFTC about who is the regulator of consequence. And Chair Gensler has taken the position that kind of everything is what he calls a digital security or something like that. Judges have ruled against him repeatedly, but this administration has kind of continued that fight against the industry.
What's your conversations that you're having right now with the existing administration? I mean, you referenced some of those lawsuits, and of course, I think it was last July where you at least had that partial victory in that case, and ultimately, more or less, that worked out in your favor, depending on all the legal avenues here. But we talk about an administration that actually seems to now have pulled back. Maybe they got the message, but what conversations are you having with them about the structure of regulations, how they may morph and how they may change going forward?
Yeah, I was actually in Washington, D.C. last Wednesday as part of a crypto roundtable hosted by Rep. Khanna, but attended by Senator Gillibrand as well as Anita Dunn from the White House. And it was, I think, the Democrats realizing that they've kind of gotten behind where the Republican Party and the Republican platform has been as relates to crypto. And I think they were there listening to the industry. Mark Cuban was one of the hosts of that event also. And so I think it was refreshing to start to have that conversation. But as you referenced, this is almost exactly a one-year anniversary of the court case where Ripple was sued by the government. And look, the one thing that the SEC was arguing most vociferously was this idea that XRP, the digital asset that Ripple uses in our technology, was a security. And that was really what they cared about. And what the judge ruled is that XRP is not a security. And that's really been a formative case for the industry. So we're going to continue really clamoring and trying to champion the clarity of regulation. And yeah. I'm hopeful that as we see a change in the guard, we'll see.
See? That's where it was at when he was talking. So just to prove that I'm not BSing you, this was actually in real time. And then right out, just listen what he says right now.
Sorry, just to clarify though, I mean, was the ruling though, it didn't make a distinction between institutional investors and retail investors, did it not?
What it said actually is that just like if you package up real estate or you package up even pork bellies, if you put those into an investment contract, the investment contract is a security.
Gotcha.
But the ruling was very clear that no matter what, XRP in and of itself is not a security.
Brad, do you agree then with, okay, so the reason why in part that President Trump is pro-crypto is because he doesn't want China to be more crypto than the U.S. Is that actually like a material risk that China would surpass the U.S. in terms of its crypto innovation?
Well, I can't speak to China specifically, but what we are seeing is whether it's the UK, Japan, Singapore, I mean, even the European Union, more than 24 countries have come together to create a framework.
See how the news? China, see the narrative? Forget China. That's not what there's so... It's an interesting thing.
Work to provide crypto regulation. They call it MICA. And what's frustrating as a U.S. company and someone who grew up here in the Midwest, it's frustrating that we as a country can't get that rules, the framework in place. And instead, we have this interminable litigation coming from the SEC that really isn't solving the problem. Well, we went to court and spent over $150 million in 3 years of our time arguing that in the court and prevailed. We can't do that with every single token. And so we have been advocating, and there is legislative momentum, both on the Democratic and Republican side of the House. Something passed the House just recently called the Fit 21 Act. The Senate is considering various bills. And certainly with the choice of J.D. Vance as a vice presidential candidate, he personally has put forth language.
Guys, by the way, love or hate Trump, support him or not, I don't care politics either way. But does anybody know who J.D. Vance is? Connection to BlackRock. That's all you need to know. He's on the payroll. So understand the central banks make all the rules. I don't make the rules. I just give you the real truth.
Draft language for a bill that the Senate may or may not consider.
So it's less about the daylight between the regulation of the two parties, and it's more just about Gary Gensler.
Well, certainly Gary Gensler, in my judgment, has been at war with crypto. That is for certain. But it's also I think a tone from the overall Biden administration. The OCC certainly has been anti-crypto. You're seeing other elements of the banking industry really take a kind of an anti-crypto point of view, which hasn't, I don't think, served us well. And to Romaine's question earlier, I think, we as a country have benefited immensely from being the heart and center of the internet. The internet really...
Oh, and if that's not bad enough, the treasurer They're considering Jamie Dimon. I mean, come on now, look what's happening here. You better, if you don't understand what's going on in this next chapter, the United States is going digital, as the rest of the world, because that's what the central banks want. They've got Jamie Dimon, who is likely going to be in charge of the Treasury, and they've got J.D. Vance as the vice president. Hello, BlackRock is in 100% complete control. If you don't have precious metals or the right cryptocurrencies, Internet of Things, or the ISO tokens, and you only believe the US dollar or your native currency is money, you are 100% up and down, left and right, dragged up the floor, down to the ends of the earth, fucked.
Grew up here in part because we had clear regulatory dynamics in the United States passed in the late 90s that allowed entrepreneurs to build, that allowed capital to flow in. And I think we've been, seeking that as other countries around the world have leaned into that and provided that clarity. And
right,
you've seen entrepreneurs and capital in this industry flow into other countries instead of the United States.
I am curious, though, Brad, too, when we talk about the regulatory aspects of it, and I understand the policy platform that Trump and, to a certain extent, that J.D. Vance has started to articulate since he got named as VP candidate. But we also know that a lot of the objections to, let's just say, the growth of the crypto space.
I'm telling you, everybody, Trump is there because they know it's easier to push over the public. If they were going to do the same thing with Biden, oh my God, Jamie Dimon, the treasurer, and J.D. Vance as the vice president. This is unfucking no. We're having a riot. But now just switch it over to the other side, and this is fine. Got people of power and people of...
Was not just coming from the White House directly. There were concerns raised by the Fed. There were concerns raised by the Treasury. Agencies that, to a certain extent, will have a certain degree of autonomy from anything that comes out of the White House, no matter who is sitting there in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think that, look, what we are seeing and what we are seeking is clear rules of the road. The vast majority of people I know in the crypto industry are good actors who want to follow the rules. We've been asking for clear rules. And I think, as Alex described earlier, in Chair Gensler, instead of saying, let's codify that, let's sit down, they keep hiring more lawyers to bring more lawsuits. And again, it's just a silly way to approach regulation through enforcement is not the best way to approach this problem. And that's why we've been working with people on Capitol Hill. And again, on both sides of the aisle, it just happens to be this became partisan for maybe good and bad reasons, and you're seeing the Republicans kind of lean into it more so than the Democrats.
We only have about 30 seconds left, Brad, but I am curious here about your relationship with the SEC. Are you in settlement talks at all with the agency right now?
Okay, this is what everybody was talking about. Notice it's 19 seconds. Remember I tell you, you have to get through all the bullshit to get to the good stuff? You could have skipped all the way to the last 20 seconds, and this is all you need to hear. Ready? Ready? This is what everybody said, that Brad Garlinghouse said there was going to be a settlement. And you tell me what you think.
About your relationship with the SEC. Are you in settlement talks at all with the agency right now?
I can't comment on that specifically. Suffice it to say that the ruling has been clear from the judge. There's one final piece, as you referenced, about these investment contracts that are sold to institutions. We expect resolution very soon, but can't predict exactly when the judge will rule there.
Okay, so he didn't say anything, but he said everything. We can't predict when the judge is going to rule. He's waiting for a judgment. Fuck these settlement talks. The judge is going to say what it's going to be, and they're either going to agree to the terms or not. There's no secret meeting that's going to have this happen in lieu of what the judge says, bottom line. So every time you hear settlement talks, there's a secret meeting. There's always a secret meeting. There's always settlement talks. Everybody always says the same thing. It never happens. In fact, until the Annalisa Perez actually makes a ruling and there's an actual final judgment, it's all speculative, and that's why all this is speculative. So this was literally, we're liquidity, exit liquidity. Ripple didn't move 150 million tokens for no reason. It gets disguised as possible settlement bullshit. No, they're just selling it. For whatever reason, they're selling like they always do. Are you serious? Uh-oh. Well, I'm gonna give my mom a minute to settle in. So, I mean, what do you guys think? These are the numbers below, but we knew with XRP we had a problem yesterday. When we got rejected after already back testing 60.3 cents, we knew we could have a problem setting up. And that's why we had to hold 60. Well, yesterday was 60.3, but now the back test back up for a rejection would be around 60.2 if it has to happen. But once you start reversing like this, you'll notice it's a lot easier to come down than push up. It's a lot easier to get sellers, and now the sellers have overwhelmed the buyers. Now the selling pressure is less than the buying pressure, but not by much. But a pretty steady volume pouring in. A little bit less here the last couple hours, but nothing out of the ordinary. So now we're really sitting in shit's creek. Because now we don't even have the catalyst that everybody was... See, catalysts are nice even if they're fake until you get up to the day. Or until somebody dispels what everybody's saying. See, that's why I love XRP with the FOMO, but I hate it just as much with how quick people will just give up. Oh, settlement's not happening, it's over. No, in fact, now you're giving more chances to institutions to pick up what you're just selling. A lot of people that are selling right now were either part of the ones who got a great deal on the way back up here and got to sell off for anywhere between 30 and 60% very quickly, or the ones that bought up and by the time it got to 55 cents started buying, or 60 cents, especially 63. You know, Syrian says, I agree, Tom, until Therese offers... Exactly. And thank you for not only being a mod, but for being in your first month in Tom's army with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. They could settle after a judgment. Yeah, but if you settle after a judgment, you're just agreeing to the terms. That's all. That's essentially what the judgment is. You're agreeing to some kind of settlement. But everybody says the settlement's going to happen with the SEC. No. They're going to agree with what the judge says, and that's going to settle the case. But the way the settlement's being interpreted and being pushed out by social media influencers so they can get cheap views that don't matter, they're just not giving you the right information. The only way a settlement's happening is if Ripple agrees with what Judge Therese says. There's never going to be a meeting where they shake each other's hand and say, oh, we don't need the judge, let's bring this to the judge. It's not happening. That's been the whole point from the beginning. That is not happening. It never was, and it never will. Just like we were never going to have a settlement and end of the case in 21, 22, 23. 24 was the first chance. But unless we go to a trial, then you got to go through 25. I don't see a trial happening. Because if you go to trial, then the SEC just looks like a bunch of jackasses. And even if they did come to some kind of resolution with Ripple and XRP, which they've already come to a resolution with XRP, remember. XRP is not a security, period. You already heard that loud and clear, point blank, and I don't know how many more times people are going to act like it's still a security. That can never be changed. That's a final decision. That's not changing. That's not changing. So, you know, that's just the way it goes. So, furthermore, we see what's happening on the XRP charts. Does anybody have anything to add while you have my attention right now? I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this because I have a prior obligation, but I don't have to end yet. But I can't do the live at 6:30 p.m. tonight like I normally do, so I came on now. And then at 6:30, everybody will still be able to see this. And we'll be in essentially the exact same spot. With Bitcoin, we're down 653 points. Louville, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XP 589 Moon Badge. And yes, the judge did say that it would be $10 million. They were speculating that the judge was considering $10 million with no disgorgement, and that's what XRP would take. It all just depends, because the judge could say something and then Ripple could come back and say, well, you know, that sounds great, but we're willing to concede to paying a fine or whatever to get this going, but we don't like those terms. We need it to be these terms. And then they could go back and forth still. But until somebody agrees to until both parties, especially Ripple here in this case, agrees what the terms would be, because there's going to be some kind of penalty. Yeah, the SEC is going to try to save face, but it's not going to be seen as a settlement. Thanks, Louvel. I would absolutely share this video. This is probably one of the most important videos you could watch, because not only did I show the charts and everything in real time and what's going on, but we're talking about Brad Garlinghouse, and we showed him not just what he said yesterday when everybody was talking about the settlement, which you heard. He didn't even say anything closely in regard that there was going to be settlement. So is he gaslighting us, or are they gaslighting him, saying he's gaslighting us? I believe what's really going on here in this case, Brad Garlinghouse said as much as you needed to hear. There ain't no fucking settlement here. We're waiting for the judge. But what did everybody on social media say? Brad Garlinghouse is saying there's going to be a settlement and there's a closed meeting tomorrow, and he verified it. That couldn't have been farther from the truth. So if you're watching somebody who's giving you that kind of information, you got to stop. Not so you can watch me. Maybe you need to stop watching me too, but at least you got to stop getting the false information, because the more information you get that's false, the more you're going to start seeking out that similar bullshit. And then the more people you watch that keep dictating that bullshit, the less opportunity you have and the more you're going to get screwed. I'm telling you right now, that's how it works. That's why nobody watches here like they watch some of the bigger channels. You know what? That's not fair. I don't only have 3,000 subscribers anymore. I do have over 22,200 subscribers now. So that is an unfair statement. You know, so, but if you have honor and you have truth and you actually believe in something, you actually do it with a sense of humility, but also a sense of pride. You can grow by telling the truth. It just takes a lot longer. Because you can't, you just got to show reality. And then over time, people will come to you. And you know why the people come back to me over and over and over? High times of volatility. Integrity is absolutely the key, Dre. But when things are in high times of volatility and they need to know now, and they need to know right now with no bias, they always come back. Always come back. Yesterday, we had 165 people on the live. Remember what I said when we had 60 the day before or 2 days before that? On the worst of day, it was actually when we had that big drop and then a couple days of consolidation. I said, when everybody needs to be here, they won't be here. But when they need to be here, they're not going to be here. But when they don't need to be here, they'll be here. Yesterday at the top was a good day to be here. But the time to be here, if you're looking to buy, wasn't yesterday. Yesterday, people were getting mad because I was talking about the possibility if we didn't get past there, how it was a big problem and the RSI was oversold. Even though I had the positivity, I was talking about it in good terms. We talked about what could happen and how quick it would happen if we fell through. And unfortunately, we fell through. And in no way do I say whether it's going up or down, but I look at the facts in front of me and we make an educated and informed decision. Right now, the problem is, it's like I said yesterday, there's not a lot of support here. 56.3 cents is urgent. Urgent. You need to hold that. And we came through on a wick before, but you need to hold 56.3. Because that structure breaks, and then it's down to this 48.6. 48.6 breaks, we've got a lot of problems. Because at 48.6, that invalidation is off, and we are back in a corrective phase. The one thing that makes me really nervous right now is I like to see continuation or not based on pattern forming. And I have a big history now. All I do is watch the charts. This is all I do. I don't go to a real job anymore. I stopped that before I started YouTube. So don't think it was YouTube that caused this, because if it was only because of YouTube, I'd have to have a real job. I don't make enough on YouTube to live off of. I do pretty good now from the members of Tom's Army, but I don't do anything special. I make less than a minimum wage worker, you know, if it was according to YouTube. Well, actually, not less than a minimum wage worker. That's not fair. But anyhow, you get the picture. So I started to do this years before I started YouTube, but I was still working a job. And then when the pandemic hit, I never went back to work. And then about a year later, I started this channel. And it's been nothing but great, because I'm able to get the word out. But what's making me nervous is you got this up. And now because it did build this M-topping reversal, this very well could be seen as a left shoulder that gave us the hint that this was the first step of the end. Now, if this has to be a fake out, what you want is this to do no worse than retest this structure, which it just did. So now you would hope to bounce off of it and make that an invalidation and just continue to push through. Now, if we get rejected here, we're going to come all the way back down here. And what does this do, though? It creates that perfect head and shoulders pair. I'm topping reversal. You've got both shoulders there that could play out even if it comes through. So, you know, these are the problems we have with being in this area. Does this make sense to everybody who's still watching? And I could have threw some people off because, you know, the truth talk, but that's okay. Does that make sense, everybody? Do you understand the predicament we're in here? The fact that we are back below this 6.5 year resistance, and the fact that we got rejected on the over 2.5 year formation at 63.5 cents and created an topping reversal. Some people said that I was being dramatic in my update this morning when I said this is catastrophic. I wasn't being dramatic. We not only got rejected at 63.5 cents, we didn't even hold the 6.5 year resistance when we had plenty of room. See, this is the first time in 6.5 years we had a chance. We had a chance. We absolutely had a chance. And it's not over yet. By no means is it over. I'm not saying throw in the towel, XRP shit, you know, we have no hope. By no means is that what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, though, initially, this uptrend, we had all the way up to 63.5 cents, or we'll just say 63.3. So we didn't just break over. We had room. It wasn't a lot, but we had about 5%. We had 5, and we couldn't hold. So now, the hope would be that coming through, this is a big overreach. You shake out the weak hands, but the catalyst disappeared. Even if it was a fake catalyst, it's still a catalyst. It's a buy the rumor, sell the news. That rumor's over now. The catalyst has ended, and it was fake like it normally is with Ripple. And now those FOMO buys are gone. You see what I'm saying here? And they always tell you within the news, and remember who came out? Somebody within, who's a proponent for Ripple, a lawyer. I don't remember, but they came out and said they bought at 40 cents and they'd buy more at 37. So they were already there saying they bought. And they didn't even tell you they bought 38. So there's a reason why that came out. So now if it comes back up here and we get a rejection at 60.2, that's brutal. Now that might not even be the double top. It might be speaking to a larger topping reversal where we could come up and double top appropriately, come down, retest, and that could be what's happening as well, because it was a rather large run-up if it's going to be bearish. So remember, you don't know the exact way it's going to take. We can only speculate until it starts moving. But underneath 60.2 cents is very bearish. I'm just telling you right now. And if you think 9% loss is something, just wait until you see what happens next if we can't get back over and hold. And I'm talking about in this weekly time frame. You're not going to want to push past farther than Sunday. Maybe it could push into next week, but in time, you've got to somehow bounce back up and retake this resistance. Otherwise, I can already tell you what the future has. You've already seen it over and over and over. Remember? Buy support, sell resistance. Buy support. So then your next support is going to be back down here around 39.9 cents again, 40 cents. 40 and a half, or 40.2. So that's the reality we're at here, folks. And then anybody who bought at that peak because they seen it go over the top and like, I'm buying now, I'm never going to get another chance. Now they're sitting at a 35% drop. You know, and then you start talking about, oh, XRP is the biggest pile of shit, and that's where it starts. No, it gives the biggest opportunity because it's so stable. It's been in this exact same consolidation for 6.5 years. You got to understand what's happening. To just trade without knowing this, you're gambling. You're gambling either way, but you're gambling less if you understand what's in front of you. The easiest trade, as I said, was from 40 cents. That's the easiest trade you could ever make. And I even put it in the perspective of the XRP Bitcoin pairing. But once you miss it, you miss it. You missed it. Because you can't make that opportunity back. You could buy at 57, it could go to 65, but you can't buy it at 38 or 40 again and make it go there. Just like the XRP Bitcoin pairing, I pounded the table here for weeks. I even showed my buys as I did it. And I rode it all the way from that 741 because I was a little lower, all the way up to this 957. I sold at 941. I didn't get the top at 989, but I knew my technical zone, and now I'm not sitting here asking what could have been. And now it could very easily reverse, so now you can try to figure it out. But that was the opportunity. And I said this is going to be the easiest opportunity we've ever had between XRP and the XRP. That's 31%. XRP was better than 65% on its own. So there was a big opportunity. And XRP presents a lifetime opportunity, but there's micro movements within the macro picture. Right now, you're within the micro movement of a downtrend. And yet, if you would have bought at 38 cents, you're looking at this saying, oh my God, I bought at 38 cents. Or no, let's not even say 38, because that would have been the nut buy on this one. Let's say you bought it at 41.80. Even right now, you're like, you know what? We had a 9% correction, but I still have it in my hands. I'm up 35%. I control my fate. I control my fate. So, just consider that. That's why you buy the blood. That's why you buy when everybody says, I don't want this junk. That's why you buy when the narrative is trash. That's what I did. And now because of that, you know, it's makes things a little bit easier going forward. Let's just put it that way. So, I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you get anything out of what I do, please make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Join the over 22,200 subscribers. Go in the video description below and get on HOTCOIN or BITUNIX or HOTCOIN. HOTCOIN, you copy trade me there. We're up 44% in copy trading. We have $100 we started with. That's our challenge. We're up $44 and some change. Nothing special, but 44% in these volatile times. Being a leverage trader is nothing to laugh at. That is something special. And the fact that I have to deal with everybody who copy trades me, I'm blessed that we're up. Look within those exchanges as well for the lowest spot and leverage trading fees. Hands down. No VPN or KYC on the exchanges unless you want to use them. But you have to do KYC if you're transferring or sending from a bank account. So, put your fate in your hands. I've got to get going, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you tomorrow on the live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This does unfortunately take the place of the live this evening because I have a prior obligation. But we were able to do a morning update, the short in the afternoon, and also do the live. Please share this far and wide and have a blessed evening, everybody.